Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome back to the Eagle Eye Podcast. It is episode 44, and today we have a packed show for everyone who is listening to this. We have the Clásico Joven coming up. We're going to be talking about that. We're going to be discussing that 3-0 win against Cholos and how well we looked and how not well we looked. And we're going to break down a little bit of the Lady Águilas' result, and then we'll talk a little bit about what looks like is about to happen in regards to Tata Martino. But without me getting any further, let me introduce, as always, my co-host, Mr. Christian and Cowboy Dan. How are we doing?
Cowboy Dan.
Cowboy Dan. Is that going to be like the new thing now?
Hey, he's been baptized at this point.
Yeah, that is true.
Yeah, even whenever we had the Chivas del Norte guy, Rigo was disappointed not for Ivan to call me that.
So I now bestow upon you the name of Cowboy Dan.
Nice.
I feel so blessed and honored.
Nice. I've been good though.
But just wait, when y'all come to Texas, we're all gonna ride a bull.
We're going rodeo, 100%.
Rodeo. But no, man, everything's good. Everything's good.
Yeah.
Good. You guys have yourself a pleasant Tuesday. It is Taco Tuesday, so I hope everyone is at home ready watching this, or if you're listening to this, you got your tacos at hand with some great, delicious salsa and ready to talk everything Las Águilas del América. Because, gentlemen, what a week it's been for our Águilas. What would you guys sum it up?
It was good. I like the 3-0 win for once. It could have been better though. It could have been a lot better actually.
It could have nearly been that 6-0 that Dylan was joking about that I wanted to maybe predict. But I think it was overall a pretty decent week for Águilas del América, not just the result, but everything that was going on around. The club just announced a new press area for the press down in Mexico, so that's also exciting.
Yeah, it looks beautiful.
Here's a little secret. Behind? We're gonna try and hopefully be there next tournament, the Clausura. One of us will go down there. Hopefully, fingers crossed.
Fingers crossed, ladies.
Still waiting for that Gancito money.
Still waiting for a Gancito.
That's true. That's very true.
Well, gentlemen, as you guys can see, it's go time. We're gonna talk everything in regards to that Cholos game. After that, we'll talk about the big game coming up. Probably, hence one of the biggest games for us this season against Cruz Azul, who were the leaders, but they lost out against Querétaro, which meant that with our victory against Cholos, looks like we're looking at the table from the top. Should be interesting to see how America can cope with set pressure and whether or not we're going to be able to keep that lead. We'll discuss all of that and more, and we'll talk a little bit about a boy wonder kid called Diego Lainez and what you guys thought of him in regards to this game against Cholos and whether or not he deserves the start against Cruz Azul. And we'll have to wait and see everything else going on around Henry Martin, Roger Martinez, what's going on with our strikers. So, gentlemen, without further ado, are we ready to talk about Las Américas?
Sir.
Yes.
All right. Simple, straight to the point. Okay, gentlemen, Saturday, our mighty Eagles took on Cholos in the Estadio Seca. A scoreline that read 3-0, like I said earlier, catapulting us to the first place position. How do you guys take it after the final whistle blows? You see 3 points, you see a 3-goal lead, and you see us at the top of the table. Give me just a quick two, three words on how you felt after the final whistle.
2 or 3 words. Is that all you want?
Yeah, just keep it short and simple.
Oh, very happy.
Christian, very happy. Okay.
Happy, but improvements. I don't know. Yeah, I mean,
content. It sounds like you're saying content.
Yeah,
content. Yes.
Content.
There you go.
There you go. Today's episode is brought to you by dictionary.com. Well, actually, wouldn't that be more of a thesaurus? Yeah, because you're looking for a word that is the same as another word. Look at that. Bringing you guys just one step closer to public education near you. So
there you go.
Satisfied, content. Our good friend Louis said satisfied.
I can go with satisfied too.
I think final whistle blows for me, and I say okay. And I'm just saying okay because whilst that was a very good performance, yes, it was a very good first half. It was a not a very good first half. Let me take that back.
Yeah.
It was an okay first half,
Okay.
a better second half, but it wasn't the game we set up for America last week on the podcast. It was more of a game where it was scrappy at times, a lot of missed possession, a lot of balls just kind of not finding the players you want him to find. Now the pitch itself was not as big of a factor as we intended, as we thought it was going to be. But I think just overall, the team in general, I think the fact that we got such an early goal kind of diminished everything else that we were expecting them to do. Because like we said, the one thing that we said against Tigres was America puts in a shift, gets an early goal, and then for some reason kind of falls back. We were hoping that we would get the early goal, which we did, but we were hoping that we were not going to make that same mistake again, but we did. Now, Christian, you talked about this. Now, why did you think the team just suddenly, after scoring that first goal, just kind of fell off?
I don't know. I think it's something to do with Miguel Herrera. I think he just likes that one goal lead, that kind of one goal comfort. And I guess he just wanted to carry that until, maybe the second half, which me, you, and Dylan, we just don't agree. We should do that. We should keep pressing them like we did against Tigres in the second half.
Dylan, anything you want to add on to that?
Just how, I kind of just piggybacking off of Christian a little bit there, but how much did Piojo have an effect in this, because Piojo wasn't on the sideline either. You know what I'm trying to say? So how much did he have in that too as well? Or do you think what's his name that was on the sideline? Do you think he just going off that because he's learning from Piojo that way, and Piojo's just rubbed off from him that way?
You know what? I think the managerial thing kind of always goes back to Piojo. I'm pretty sure Piojo had every intention of being in that game, whether it was through walkie-talkie, whether it was through pre-instructions before the match started. There was definitely contact with Piojo Herrera 24/7 whilst that game was going on. So I do think Piojo Herrera's tactics and kind of his managerial style was a factor in regards to everything. But interesting enough that you bring that point out too, because not a lot of people have been mentioning this at all on Twitter, that the fact that Piojo Herrera was on the bench and it didn't really seem to affect us as much as other times.
I think the reason because they don't mention it because we won. I think if it would have been a draw or a loss, they would have brought that up a lot more.
Yeah, exactly. But what more can we talk about before we go into the nitty-gritty of this game?
I don't know. Just don't fall back. That's it. That's pretty much it.
So the game starts off pretty well for us. I think we actually maybe are a bit standoffish in the first couple of minutes, but then we take the game
like always.
Cholos. Yeah, like always, and something we've said that we don't want to see America do that. We want them to go straight off the bat and start pressing. But I think it worked in this instance. I think we let Cholos have a feel of what the situation was, and once we thought they were going to get comfortable, we made them uncomfortable. We started pressing, we started moving the ball around, and we got these opportunities. And we gave the ball to a wonder kid by the name of Diego Lainez, who absolutely changed the game, I think, from all perspectives.
Right. And I think we've talked about putting him in that position, behind the striker, because he says he was very comfortable playing that position. And you know what? He got his chance on Saturday, and like you said, he did very well.
And you know what? We said that there was probably only one player in the team that could play that number 10 role besides Jeremy Menes. And, like we said, it had to be Diego Lainez. Now, many people thought he was going to play as a center forward, but I think he showcased exactly what his role is. He feels so comfortable in that midfield spot because he has liberty to go forward and occasionally to even drop back when needed.
Yeah.
And it really showed.
I don't know if you guys noticed, but at times he almost, whenever we were trying to pick up the ball again from a Cholos attack, he almost seemed kind of like a third center mid.
In a way, yes. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, kind of fitting in that pocket in spaces where Guido maybe left it because he was tracking a little bit more back, or Mateus Uribe because he was trying to help out on the defense. But I think Diego Lainez's game was on point, and we'll talk a little bit more about Diego Lainez. But let's focus on the first couple of minutes. He gets the ball, maneuvers it, wins is a very, very good free kick opportunity. And a man who steps up by the name of Emmanuel Aguilera. Now, I have criticized him a lot. You have criticized him a lot, Dylan. You have criticized him a lot too, Christian. But the man comes in and performs a wonder strike and puts us up 1-0. Someone mentioned it in the comments that it was our first goal from a free kick situation since the days of Mickey Arroyo. Mr. Christopher, thank you for bringing that up. Now that's been a while now.
That's a while. That's a while.
A while now, but it's no. But it should be surprising that our last two good free kick takers was now Emmanuel Aguilera, and before, I don't know if you gentlemen remember Paulo Goltz.
Yeah, Paulo Goltz.
Yeah, I remember Goltz.
Yes.
When he took when he took that free kick, was it against Real Madrid or was it against the Chinese? No, it was against the Chinese team.
Yeah. We didn't score against Real Madrid, unfortunately.
But he puts in a wonderful ball in and 1-0 up.
It was a great goal. Honestly, I was surprised. The way he hit it was beautiful too.
A lot of people want to give a bit of fault to Lahoud. I think Lahoud was maybe a bit in fault because he gave too much
room he was too in the middle post.
Yes, he was way too much in the middle. For a goalkeeper, that is very risky. Now, that's a risk you're willing to take if you're very agile and you think that the ball is going to be placed in a position where you can get to both corners. But Emmanuel Aguilera hit that. It was an absolute rocket of a shot, like Dylan put on Twitter. And it was absolutely perfect in that sense. So we go up 1-0, and the team celebrates, and you see the passion, and you see what it meant for the team, you know? And then I don't know what happens with the team. We just completely die off, and we give Xolos every right to come back into the game. And because of that, Xolos could have easily been up 2-3-1 before we score our second goal.
Yeah, and now, most definitely. You see Xolos take off 5 shots. It was in the first half alone.
Now 5 shots that if they were a little bit more composed and if they weren't so rushed, that maybe those 5 shots would have gone into the back of the net.
Exactly. It was poor finishing on their part. Hence, where maybe it could have been no disrespect to Xolos, but hence it could have been maybe a Tigres or a Monterrey, you know, and they were in that situation. You know, we could have been down in that first half.
Easily. All because we thought, okay, we give Xolos the ball, they come at us, we suck the pressure, we relieve it with a counterattack, and we score a goal. That it just seems so basic, so simple that teams can read right through it. I don't know how Xolos didn't read right through it. They should have been up by 2 goals at that point when we score on them. But I mean, we get lucky in that sense, because if you're gonna do that, if you're gonna play the counterattack, you need to know defensively you are safe and sound, and there is no way no one's getting through you, right? Yes. But our forwards seem to lack finishing, whilst our defenders seem to be scoring, but our defenders lack defending as well. It's a topsy-turvy world in America right now, where your strikers are
all season actually
defenders. And you know, and your defenders are your best strikers. So it's very frustrating to see, because you want America to be solid all around. Yes, it's great to see Edson. It's great to see Emmanuel Aguilera. It's great to see Bruno Valdez get on the score sheet, because that means they're in form and they're in a very good position as to if we need them to go up for a corner or a set piece, you know that they can deliver. But with that said, you want them to be able to take care of their situation in the defense, which it looked like they were just completely out of position. Like if they've never played in there before. There was times where Bruno Valdez was just standing there, and instead of actually going and pressing the man, he just completely just kind of gets taken away by a pass and just stands there. Has no sense of tracking back, has no sense of moving to a different position, just kind of lets the play run. Now, I'm sorry I interrupted you there, Dylan. Go ahead.
No, yeah, this kind of something that you said that I was going to touch off too a little bit. You know, you think about the Necaxa game too, and, you know, the way Bruno and Aguilera were playing too, and those 2 goals that they gave up against Necaxa, and it just kind of seemed almost the same way, and, you know, just really lucky, you know, not to really concede one.
Extremely lucky, and some pretty good Marchesín interventions. Great defending by Paulo Aguilar. Your wing back should not be doing your center back's job. I'm sorry.
Yeah, definitely not.
Yeah.
But I think it's a solid night for our fullbacks. I think Georgie had himself a pretty decent game. Paulo had an exceptional game. Marchesín, even though even though they were knocking at the door, he didn't have that crazy of a night at the end of the day, but still pretty good for him to walk away with a clean sheet. I think the whole defense as a whole, it even brings a little bit of what could we call it, a bit of content and joy for Bruno and Emma to know that, with them being part of the defensive, they're able to keep that clean sheet as well. But I think for the most part, Paul Aguilar takes most of the credit.
No, definitely, yeah. And we kind of seen Paul Aguilar. Oh, I'm sorry, Dylan, but we kind of seen Paul Aguilar fall off a little bit off form, this season. But yeah, it was great to see him have this game.
And it's perfect because you're running to that last third of the season, Dylan. I'm sorry we keep interrupting you here.
I'm just gonna leave. Bye.
No, and no, this is good. You want to see a player that maybe like Paulo Aguilar, or maybe a couple players that maybe weren't hitting their peak, come into this, later half of the season ready to be at 100%. So go, Dylan. I know you were gonna touch upon this.
Yeah, I mean, despite the fact, that they had a pretty decent game, content game and everything, but, it still show those signs of struggle. It still show those signs of where improvements need to be made. And, I know we talked about a lot, we're getting into that point in the season. You want things to be crisp, but, I think we said it too, we can take what we get, but, it needs to get fixed, by come Liga time too as well.
No, yeah. Yeah, completely agree. So let's kind of talk about the end of the first half, and complete Diego Lainez show throughout the whole game, exactly. But for the extent of the first half, I think he moved the ball well. There was a couple of times where he maybe misplaced the pass, gave a few balls here and there, but it's expected.
It's normal.
An 18-year-old.
Yeah.
But still completely looks like he is ready to be the starter in that cam position. And then I think overall the wingers had a pretty good game. I think Ibargüen was decent. I mean, he got himself a goal. He was in very good position. A man who keeps, making me look like I don't know what I'm talking about, which is good. At the end of the day, that's what I want him. I want him to prove me wrong. I want him to have an amazing season that when people listen to a previous show, they're like, what was I even talking about? This guy was an absolute monster, And then the band that's always been performing for us for years on now, Renato Ibarra. I mean, let's talk about him. The just kind of determination, the willpower, the hunger that he has every game, maybe at times goes a bit unnoticed, but the guy runs and he never stops running.
Yeah.
He's got lungs of steel, and I mean, you got to give credit where credit is due with Renato Ibarra. That second goal, anyone else on that pitch gives up that ball and doesn't chase it the way that Ibarra does. So let's paint a picture for the people who maybe didn't see the goal. Now, it's Ibargüen who he takes the shot, right? Takes a shot or a pass. I don't know what it was, but it completely goes extremely wide. Ball goes rolling. It looks like that ball is completely gonna go and cross the line, and it's gonna be a goal kick. But you just see Renato Ibarra sprint, and even wins the defender. The defender was way closer to the ball than Ibarra, but Ibarra goes and muscles the defender out and just completely just goes down and puts in a perfect ball for Ibargüen to put it into the back of the net. And I think just that play itself, that play right there, showcases how good Ibarra is for us.
Yeah. And we see him doing it time and time again. It's nothing new from this guy. And like you said, he deserves more praise than what he's getting right now.
So you hear that, EA? Why you give him a 74? He should be at least a 77. The guy runs for days, and his stamina should be 99 because I never see him tired.
And not even his stamina. We always talk about this season how we've been kind of mispassing the ball a lot, and this past game, Ibarra didn't really do that. Every pass that he made was very accurate and sometimes very crucial, like the Ibargüen goal.
He's a very smart player, and I don't know if you guys can take the time out of the day to go watch some of his previous games. If you notice, he does something so smart, and that is he always gives a pass where he knows 90% of that time he is not compromising his teammate nor himself. So you rarely see him switch the ball, but if he does, he knows that ball is going to be able to be made by his teammate. He always gives nice short passes because he is a player that loves to play the 1-2. The most simplest trick in the book, the 1-2 wall. He loves that because his speed and his skill to control the ball at a very fast pace is impeccable. Now, with that said, he has had games in which sometimes his crossing is a bit off, or sometimes he does a little bit one too much. But that's his game, and I love the fact that he's one of the only few players out there on the pitch that will pick up the ball and completely try to do everything to try to get through a defender. Sometimes it may be a little bit like, oh, he's gonna do the same play, but sometimes it even works out. So Ibarra, keep on doing what you're doing, because I mean, what more can we say but praise this guy?
No, yeah, definitely. And like I said before, he deserves much more praise than what he's getting.
Yeah, the hustle's real with him. I was really surprised to see him come off after 60 minutes.
Yeah, but I feel like at that point you kind of save him.
Yeah.
Because he's such a vital player, and
definitely
with the condition that the pitch is in, you never know, tempers start.
And he is an injury-prone type of guy too.
Yes, so he's one of those players where you're like, okay, we're 3-0 up. I don't know why you need to, with probably one of your biggest game of the season coming up, there's no need to risk a player like him.
Mm-hmm.
Could easily be the key against Cruz Azul next week.
Oh, and we'll talk about that right now in a little bit.
But overall, first half ends 2-0. America walks into the dressing rooms with a very, very good lead. Maybe a lead that we did not deserve, but a lead that we had. Like we mentioned, Cholo should have easily have maybe equalized the game by then. But, I think the commentator said it perfectly. You keep missing these opportunities. You're giving America an opportunity to kill you. I think we did so.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I agree.
I mean, the team walked away with a 2-0 cushion in the first half, but I think you walk away with that, like you said, content. You're happy for the lead, but you're not happy with the performance that some of these players are putting out. I think, our midfield was just a little bit off.
Especially.
Yeah, and I'm not to say that they were bad. I just felt like they were off. Something wasn't clicking at that triangle between Lainez, Guido, and Mateo Uribe. Even Guido at times, whilst he was in good positions and whilst he was a great leader, because Guido showcased how great of a leader he can be in that midfield in regards to whenever Diego Lainez was getting fouled, or whenever he had to kind of command the players around him. Showed wonderful leadership there. But in regards to just kind of how the team was shaped about, I feel like we had such a big hole right there.
Right.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. And I think it really showed too. Just like you said, it was off all game, and it really showed that when Cholos really exploited it a little bit. They had their chances too, and obviously, like we said, didn't finish them, but it really affected the team a lot overall.
Funny thing enough is I guess it's just kind of I'm not gonna call it a curse, but I just can't find another word for it. But this kind of curse of America being who America is, that even though they won 3-0 at home in our first place right now, we're still sitting here criticizing them on what was probably one of the best performances we've seen in a while. But it's just what America is, and I bring it up only because was it our good friend Mr. Football Forever who tweeted it out and said, how can you criticize this team for losing only 2 games during the season on a great winning form? And I told him, but we're still gonna go criticize them on today's show, because that is what that's who America is. America is always gonna be in that spotlight, whether it's with fans, whether it's with media, whether it's with rivals. There's always gonna be something to critique, and we need to showcase that. The reason why we're critiquing is because we know as good as this team is, boy, if they're playing, we're at the point where we want them to play. There is no other team catching us up. No other team that can catch up to us.
Definitely not.
Which is why we criticize them, because we know the full potential that is there. Mm-hmm. Now it's just as long as the team can get there, So now, first half ends, we walk away content. Second half kicks off. Walk me through it. How do you guys feeling about this once the second half starts?
I'm feeling good. We're pressing, we're creating chances, and it seems like we take control of the game. Something that we kind of really didn't have in the first half. We start passing a little bit, like I said, creating chances, shooting the ball a little bit, and I think that's what we needed to come off in the second half.
Dylan, how'd you start the second half?
Yeah, I looked at it. I was pretty content with it. I think we look at it. We give up that goal. I mean, not give up a goal. We get the goal, and then after that, kind of we talked about, we see them kind of sit back, soaking some pressure, and we let Cholos get into their game, and yeah, I mean, you should kind of expect that, because we kind of seen that all season too as well. But it's just something that I wish they get out of. Something that they shouldn't do. And so that was kind of the concern for me, even though it's expected. And just like we said before, just really lucky not to give up a goal in the first half.
Yeah, that was key. But second half starts off completely the way we've always wanted. We start pressing. We take the game to Cholos right away from kickoff. And then Roger Martinez easily has himself a goal, but Lahoud with a wonderful save. That's point blank range. He does well to get down in time and just manotear that ball into the corner. And then again, another opportunity in which Renato Ibarra almost dinks the goalkeeper as well. So it's just these constant opportunities. And you think, where was this America for a good 25 minutes of the first half where we were just soaking up pressure?
Mm-hmm. Or maybe that was the game plan. We just don't know. But I guess it's the game plan that we don't agree with.
But I mean, if that's your game plan, isn't that too risky? Even if you're playing against a side like Cholos, and you have, because Cholos has a very good team. I mean, Fabian Castillo, completely a monster for winger. As much as we don't want to admit to it, but Cubo Torres, someone who, wait, was it Cubo Torres?
Yes, Cubo Torres.
Cubo Torres, a very good finisher. When he wants to. And it's it's these players that yes, I get it, it's Cholos, and like we said, no disrespect to them, but if that's your game plan, that's too risky. That is way too risky. No matter what team you're playing, especially when your partnership is not completely 100% in the back, you might as well be almost giving up a goal.
Right, exactly. But I guess that's just the way Miguel Herrera is comfortable, and I guess that's why we've been criticizing this team so much. It's because we don't like the way that I guess he approaches some games like this one, soaking the pressure in when you're up 1-0. That's something that you can't do, especially like a team like Cholos, like I said, that can, maybe not up to, your Tigres, your Monterrey, your America Cruz Azuls, but you still can surprise you at any given moment.
Watch us come down to like the very end against Veracruz, and we're doing the same thing. Veracruz put like 5 past us because it's our same game tactic.
And then we deserve it then.
And that's true. And I think you say it perfectly. I think if Cholos would have scored against us, we have no right to blame. We have no other person to blame but ourselves at that point.
Yeah,
exactly.
Like you said, we would deserve to have gone down because of the way we were playing. The game was planted perfectly for you to go out there, score 3, 4, 5 goals. It was perfect. It was perfect. It's perfectly set up. Cholos was as much as we gave them the opportunity to come into the game. Notice the key word was we let them. We let them have the ball. We let them maneuver their spaces, and we kind of just said, "Come at us. We're gonna soak it up, and we're gonna try to relieve it." Didn't really work until the end of the first half, like we mentioned. But now the second half, you go in and you say, "Okay, now we're taking the game to you with a constant approach," and I mean. It pays off with a beautiful Diego Lainez goal.
Oh, dude.
Which, by the way, Lahoud was also at fault in that one.
Yeah. But it was still a great shot nonetheless, though.
Out of his, it was way too out of his goal. I'm sorry. As much as we want to give credit to Diego Lainez, it was Lahoud. What were you doing, man?
Right, but I guess give credit to Diego Lainez for realizing like Jude's positioning and taking that shot.
No, like I said, I don't want. Not taking anything away from Diego, because still it was a great finish, and for him to be aware of that showcases how well he can read a game. But you also got to give some credit to the goalkeeper there. It's like, come on, you're making it a bit too easy at this point.
Yeah. And this is supposedly one of the future national team goalkeepers.
And you know what the funny thing is, though, I really thought Lahoud was gonna come in and play a monster of a game like he usually does against America, but I don't know what happened.
Yeah, I was thinking the same thing because I was thinking back to the game in the Clausura too, whenever they played in Azteca,
and they walked away with a draw.
Mm-hmm.
But I mean, what else? What else would you want to stick to that before we talk about that Diego Lainez goal?
Oh, nothing much for you.
Yeah, nothing else.
So beautiful goal by Diego. Like we said, places it in a very good position. Notices the goalkeeper is out. I mean, what more can we say about Diego but exceptional? I mean, deserves man of the match, correct?
Yes.
Yeah, I think so.
And you know what? The thing that impressed me the most about Diego was just how consistent he was this game.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and
Consistency was important for Diego Lainez, because we've seen very bright moments here and there. It's just he hasn't really produced it for, well, I would say the full 90 minutes, but he never does really get full 90 minutes, does he? But
I think
just for the amount of time he has, it's tremendous moments that we've seen from him. But now to showcase it throughout most of the match, maybe bits and pieces here, but very, very brief. I think it just showcases what Diego Lainez is coming up to. And I think that injury may have been the best thing for him at that point, because it puts him into a perspective where he knows he got to come in stronger. He knows he's got to do better. And he proves it 100% here. Now, the one thing, though, that does kind of worry me is Diego. And as much as it worries me, it also makes me very proud of him, is the fact that he doesn't care who he's up against, and he doesn't care who hit him or who fouls him. He will go up to their face and confront them. Now, that says a lot. That says a lot about an 18-year-old. Like, the 18-year-old's got cojones. I will tell you that much. But with that said, too, you need to be careful on how you manage yourself like that, because I promise you, one of these days, Diego, one of these players is not just going to let you just have it.
Exactly.
And excel. And there's a possibility that you may confront yourself with a red card situation. We don't want you to be involved in that. Be smarter about it. Some of the best players, all of the best players get hit, get pushed around, and that's going to be, you're 18, man. You got a long way to go. So you get used to it, because it really is how it's going to work. But he's a smart kid, and I think I tweeted it out. I said the most important thing about the game now at this point was how his teammates around him kind of surrounded him and protected him, because that's the most important part. Is you need to have a team that backs you up and protects you, but also how they talk to him and calm him down in situations like whenever he got kicked or fouled and he wanted to confront the person who hit him.
I think that whole incident with the US player kind of brought this to life, like his attitude towards getting hit or getting fouled in a heated situation.
Which is good, and like I said, I have no problem with him showing cojones. It's just make sure you don't take it to the next level.
No, definitely, yeah. He reminds me like of Chucky Lozano, in a way, because he's also not the biggest guy, and he does get hit a lot. And when he does get hit a lot, he doesn't like it. He starts confronting players, and you see it sometimes. The yellows do show up for him, So I guess, like you say, it is important for him to kind of stay grounded a little bit, and like kind of hold back in a way.
So I think if Oribe Peralta is on the pitch, I think he's the perfect guy to guide him in this situation, because it's so easy at that age to get hit and then want to hit back whenever the old saying in soccer, you hit me, then I'm gonna get you back when the ref's not looking or this and that. And I think it's important that you can't go about your game like that, especially if you're Diego Lainez. Because I think once you fall down to that same level as the person who's kicked you, now you're no longer the star. Now you're just kind of falling into place with the rest of everyone else. You kind of have to be the one to excel.
Yeah.
But I have every faith and confidence in Diego that he's going to come out and excel, because he has very good players around him, because he has a very good coach, as much as some people don't want to accept it, and he has some very good people in his life, I would imagine, that kind of keep him very level grounded, because whenever he gives an interview too, it's just ridiculous how calm and grounded he is.
Definitely. And I think he surprised all of us, honestly.
Completely surprised us. But so the goal goes in, and then walk me through the rest of the half. What I feel like I'm talking the most here. Walk me through the rest of the half, because could have easily had 4.
Yeah, but I guess the same thing happened again. We scored the third goal, and I guess this is more. I guess the fans can reason more to why we let Cholos have the ball more the second half after we scored the third goal. We're up 3-0. Why not? But whatever, relax a little bit. But still, though, like it got a little bit parts where Cholos could have scored 1 or 2 here again. And, let's just say 1 or 2 go in, now you have a game again. So I understand why they let off the gas pedal a little bit, but they really shouldn't have, in a sense, not as much as they did.
And we'll talk about Roger and Henry right now and Oribe whenever we talk about the Cruz Azul game. But I don't know. I didn't see enough from our forwards.
I didn't at all either. And God, I'm disappointed with Henry. I stick up for him so much on here, and I just can't right now. He doesn't give me a reason. He doesn't show me nothing why I should stick up for him.
Because funny enough, though, in that same comment in where Mr. Football Forever said that America's always getting criticized and this and that and I told him that we were still gonna criticize him. It was who tweeted back at me, said that we need to stop giving Henry our blessings and start criticizing him, because when he came in, America didn't produce much, if anything at all. But I think the same could be said sometimes when Rogers, kind of in his slump. I wouldn't say Roger was in a slump this game. I think he just didn't produce enough. I mean, there was times where he was picking up the ball from deep in midfield. I was like, what are you doing, Roger? You're the forward. You're the only forward up there. Why are you so deep? Let our midfield take care of that. That's why Diego Lainez is there. That's why you let the kid roam around so he can be the one picking up the ball in deep positions. But I didn't see enough from Roger at all. And then he still had opportunities in front of goal that he didn't bury. What does that say to you?
Yeah, exactly. He's given the start, obviously, because Oribe is not ready. And, at this point, I still don't know Piojo's going to obviously Piojo probably put the line together, but still, I don't think Piojo's going to start Henry at this point, so you're going to give it to Roger. Roger had his chances, like you stated, and nothing, I mean, he just didn't finish. He didn't capitalize on it too. And this, like I said, if we go back to the last podcast, I think Roger's going to be important to this because it's past due. He has to step up and really show why he's wearing this shirt, why he's with the team, and he still hasn't shown it.
Yeah, still hasn't shown up. Shout out to Mr. Lil Hattrick at Mexican Soccer 9 on Twitter. He's the one who mentioned it, saying that we needed to we got to stop being a little bit biased with Henry and acknowledge that whenever he came in, not much was done. I think that was aimed more towards you, Dylan. But
I was about to say, I think me and you, Ivan, always said that even though Henry does come on for as a sub, he doesn't really do much. Like we've said that before.
And and I hate saying that though, because I am a Henry fan. Whenever Henry wants to perform, but when he doesn't, I can't sit there and be like, yeah, Henry, because and I can't even say, yeah, go Roger, because I don't even think Roger is doing any good job. And if you ask me whether or not next week we should repeat lineups and just put Roger on the bench and put Oribe back in Roger's spot, I'm gonna tell you no, don't do that. And we'll go into details why, because I think Roger does more in that position than Oribe is going to do. And then, as crazy as it sounds, I will give my explanation later on in the podcast. But
I understand you.
I get it.
It's like we need a lethal striker, but these two, because I don't even consider Oribe Peralta as a striker. I don't really know what I consider him right now. But
he's just there, honestly.
Yeah, he is. But right now we're two lethal strikers, which is Roger and Henry. They're both not producing, and you can't just sit here and bite your tongue all day. You need one of these to perform, especially now, like I said, in the later half of the season, when you really need those goals, when you really need someone to come in and clutch. One of those two players needs to stand up, and the fact that neither of them have been able to do so makes me realize, we're in a tough situation. I think we might just have to put Bruno Valdez up there,
honestly, and then replace him with Edson Alvarez. And there you go. That's our lineup.
You know what? Don't even be surprised, because I think I'm more leaning towards that than putting Oribe Peralta in Roger's spot.
Listen, man. I know a lot of people say Roger's gonna burst any minute, and Roger's about to turn into this like six goal goaling machine in 3 games. Listen, I'm all for it. Listen, if Roger does that starting Saturday, whatever, all of his what are we in 13 games in? Yeah, 13 games in. I'll forgive him for everything. It doesn't matter. But you have to do it, though. We keep saying he's going to burst. But when, though? When is it going to happen? We can't, as much as we defend Roger for being his first season, you're you're about 8, 9 games in. You should have a couple more goals than what you have already. You should be a little bit more dangerous than where you are already. Those goals that are literally right there, that given to you, you need to take them. We can't just keep saying, oh, he missed it, but it's all right though because he's gonna burst any minute. We just can't keep saying that.
And
and he started every game. I mean, he started
Yeah.
every game. I mean, yeah. I mean, and it's a pretty short season if you're looking at it that way too. And so you're paying this money, bringing in a striker, especially from Europe, and he doesn't go on and produce. I mean, it just blows my mind. I'm just like, obviously he's got to realize, the shirt he's wearing, like I said, and then just for him to have like I said, every single start this season, I believe. Correct me if I'm wrong. And
yeah,
then and then just get 2 goals out of it. I mean,
and funny you touch upon a situation I was gonna talk about, because Christian, you mentioned to us that you were speaking to someone and they had the same complaints about Roger, that he needs to realize the jersey he's wearing for. And I've heard different interviews with him, and he says that, yeah, look, I understand where I'm at. I understand the club and I understand the passion. He's like, but for those people who criticize me for the lack of goals, obviously don't know much about the game, because in his mind, in his perspective, and probably the coaches as well, he's doing things efficiently the way they expect him to be doing them at this point. Now that's debatable and that's arguable. Yes, of course, because if the manager is saying he's content with what you're doing, I mean, what more can we say? Yeah, we can.
Right.
We can tell the guy, you need to score more, you need to do this, you need to do that. But if the coach himself is saying, look, you're doing exactly what I want you to do, keep doing it, you're going to progress and you're going to break out sooner rather than later. Okay, if his mentality and that's what they're telling him, okay, fine. But he still should know that there's still more to be asked of him, right. Especially if he hears it from time and time again, whether it's the media, whether it's the fans, whether it's at practice. He needs to produce more goals. Now, like I said, he could be easily a breakout player in just the next 2 games, and we can completely, in 2 podcasts from now, 2 weeks from now, just
we can start praising him. Oh my God, he's the best goal scorer.
It's gonna be called the Roger Martinez show.
Exactly.
You know, and it the game is so easy to flip like that in an instant. Completely is like that. But same thing could be said about Henry. Henry comes in next week and scores a fantastic goal. Then, for some reason, goes in again next week and starts another show. And then again, it turns into the Henry Martin show. And we start praising him. Now, it's what I'm trying to get at is both of these strikers are at a level playing field, even though it doesn't look like that. It looks like Rogers here, Henry's here. But in theory, and at least for me, the way I see it is they're both here. They are both neck and neck. Whoever at this point of the season produces more, I think has a better chance of being our starter striker for the Liga.
Okay.
And maybe
I agree with you. Yes,
Henry should look at it like that.
Right. Yeah, I think Okay, I agree.
Dylan?
I don't know. I'm just wrapping my head around this all, just trying to see it from your side and my side too, because, I don't know. I just look at it too, and you see the formation. It seems like we're going out with this 4-4-2, and then all of a sudden it shifts, and just like you said, we see Oribe come back along the midfield, do his thing, and then obviously, I mean, like I just to me it doesn't make that much sense to me, because if Roger's being efficient the way they're seeing him doing, then where does that put Oribe to? And this is just me. I'm not trying to rant or nothing, because obviously Oribe right now is our leading goal scorer with 5 goals. And then you look at Roger, 2 goals. You look at Henry, 1 goal. And then who's next behind him? I think it's Mateus Oribe with 3 goals, and then I think it's Linus too. And I mean, I don't know, like, you're bringing in this money for a striker, and obviously, like we've talked about, he's probably being efficient the way Piojo wants him to be efficient, doing what Piojo's telling him to, and the staff and everything. But at the end of the day, it just kind of blows my mind a little bit. Like, I still don't understand. I still don't, just trying to wrap my head around it and all.
Mm-hmm. And I think we all agreed we'd give him that 6 months before we completely go out and try, killing him with some of the criticism. And we're doing our best to hold back, because we need to kind of also be able to give that player that 6-month adapting cushion. And then after that, it's all in, whether or not he performs or not. But ultimately, we do have a very tough situation. And we'll talk about the whole Oribe situation too when we talk about Cruz Azul. It's funny. It's going to be interesting to see where he plays because trust me, he's starting that game no matter what.
Who?
Oribe.
Oribe? Okay.
Oh, and Roger too. But
it just goes back to our regular 4-4-2 then.
We'll talk about that because there's something interesting that I realized that I want to bring up. But we'll get to that when we talk Cruz Azul. But overall, game ends. Did we see more from Cholos in that second half?
Did we see what? I'm sorry, I didn't hear you.
Did we see anything else from Cholos in that second half?
We saw like this little spritz maybe of 7-10 minutes of old Cholos. But after that, I mean, it was kind of like, I think me and Dylan were talking about this beforehand. It was a little bit boring in a sense after that little 7-10 minute spritz from Cholos. But I mean, it was kind of expected. We're up 3-0, so like, I understood why.
But final whistle blows. We walk away with 3 points and with a very, very, very good run of form. Now, something I was worried about that the international break may have maybe broken that good spirit we were on after beating Tigres, but looks like it was still running and now may even catapult us against Cruz Azul.
Yeah, and this is a huge game coming up.
So
yeah, very big game because apparently we're the away.
We're never away.
Yeah, we're never away.
That's why I put my quotation. Because technically in the schedule we're the away team. Technically, but we're not away. So
our home.
Technically.
But it's good though because America doesn't really have to travel
at all.
No, not at all.
Like I said, we'll get to that point right now. But let's wrap up Cholos here. Ultimately, good game, decent game. Could have been better. Maybe should have had more goals, but it's still 3 goals is more than acceptable. So, just final thoughts on it.
Final thoughts for me, content. Obviously, like we said, it's that point in the season where you got to get those 3 points. You can't really drop any points, and we're moving closer. Like I think you mentioned it last podcast too, where like 30 points is around that magic number of clinching the Liga spot, and we're right there. So I mean, pretty content going forward. Now it's just started about fixing some of those minor things week in and week out too as well.
Nice, Christian.
I'm happy that the international break didn't disrupt anything with the team, like you mentioned. The defending needs to be a little bit better, in my opinion. I guess the play style after we score needs to be different. But overall, this is huge 3 goals, huge 3 points. And I've been the one that's been saying that this is the part of the season where you can't lose, and we're off to a good start.
Well, let's hope the team continues to keep playing that good run of form. Ultimately, yeah, pretty content and happy that you walk away with 3 points, and just kind of keep producing what you've been doing and kind of fix those little mistakes here and there, especially in the defense. But ultimately, we wrap it up, 3 points, go home, call it a day, and just be happy with it. So. Anything else?
Are you happy with it?
You know what? I was happy with it. I was happy with it because the team won. I think at the end of the day, when a team wins, you're happy about it. The next day, once I think about it, or the following day, that's when you start being, well, it could have been better. It could have been this. It could have been that.
I'm the complete opposite, actually. On that day, I was like, wow, like we should have done this, we should have done this. But then, like on Sunday, I was like, yo, we're first place, yo. So what's up? Like, let's go, baby.
and everyone takes it differently. With in regards to that, it's just. But I think at the end of the day, we're happy. The team wins, so we're happy.
We're happy, yes.
Even if they would have won by 1 late minute goal or 1 early goal, it wouldn't have mattered. The team wins. That's important. I think at the end of the day, like we said, we're at the stage where we can't drop anything. We gotta accumulate as much as possible, and now we're doing so. So America wins, and now we're gonna roll over to the big game against Cruz Azul and the Clásico Joven. But before that, as always, we bring you guys the segment that is known as Trivia segment. We need to give it a better name. Trivia Hour.
Trivia Hour, really? We spent like 2 minutes on this, not really an hour.
Yeah, well, you know what? We'll come up with a better name by next week.
Yeah,
The point
yeah.
is, it's trivia time
Trivia
for
time.
the podcast.
Yes.
Ladies and gentlemen, I give it to Christian to give you guys the question as I posted on the group chat. So make sure you guys, if you guys listen to this via iTunes or SoundCloud, if you guys ever have the chance to come and watch this live, we urge you to do so.
Please.
Only just because you guys get to know our faces, and also because that you guys get to do these wonderful, wonderful little trivia questions. So Christian, take it away.
So it's time for trivia. Before I say the question, we finally put the scoreboard on our Twitter. I know we've been a little lacking on it. That's my fault. Don't blame these guys. It's my fault because I'm the one supposed to do it. But yeah, I finally posted it. It's updated. It'll be updated next Tuesday, and I'll post it again next Tuesday after the podcast. But today's trivia question is: who scored in the 89th minute in the America Cruz Azul 2013 final?
Oh man, that was easy. That was Hobby Bermudez.
So that's a spoiler, and here we go, guys. It's getting very close. So these questions, these podcast bonuses might come in handy for anyone listening on SoundCloud, iTunes. Get your butt in here because you don't want to miss out on these points.
And they're very. I'm not gonna say easy points, but they're very attainable points that you can just completely like. If you messed up in one of the questions, like I did, I put Rangers FC in the last one. Apparently, Rangers has never been in the Liga MX before. It's like you answered this, and then you're just like, all right, I may have messed up in that one, but this one gives me a little bit more of a catapult, more of a boost. So, like we said, just come out, enjoy the trivia in the trivia segment because it's always fun. I've never seemed to get them right, but that's just me. But you guys probably have much better luck. And Dylan says he's in first place. I find that hard to believe.
Yeah, I find that hard to believe too because I have not seen anyone here actually. So
because like Lewis says, you do have
all the answers. Why I gotta expose me like that?
Well, because first of all, we don't want people to think that we're cheating.
Definitely not.
Damn. But yeah, go out there, guys. I mean, you guys are killing it, and the amount of support we've had. I think you've talked about this too, Christian. We did not expect so many people to actually kind of, be a part of this.
Exactly.
And this is actually just kind of a trial thing for us, but you guys loved it so much, and you guys have really taken.
You guys are encouraging us to do this next season as well, and don't trust me. I have a pretty cool idea for next season, but. We need your support, and right now you're giving us a whole lot of it.
And it's just like we were testing the waters, but we're being 100% here. We were just definitely, just kind of testing the waters here, and it's completely amazing how the support has been. But thank you guys, and enjoy your trivia questions because they're fun, absolutely fun to do.
You're fun, Ivan. You're a fun host.
Well, I try to be. Sometimes.
Oh, and the prize. We will be announcing a prize next week for the trivia. Okay, next week you guys will know why you guys have been stalking our Twitter, why you guys have been on our podcast every week. Every Tuesday. You will know why you are playing these trivia questions. But once again, thank you all for the support, and it really means a lot to us.
We're gonna get Cowboy Dan to sign some boots.
There you go. I'll write a bull for y'all too.
Send him a picture of it like a postcard.
Remember when I told you what they said about riding a bull?
That's crazy, man. So, we're gonna have to make our own podcast. It's gonna be called Riding the Bull. Right. And it's not about writing actual bull. It's just living life through all the negative stuff that happens in your life. You guys can get the joke afterwards, but good segment, boys. Good segment. All right, let's move on and let's talk about the Clásico Joven. But because I know we're gonna spend most of our time, I want to give the ladies their proper place in the podcast. So let's briefly talk Lady Águilas, because if I'm not mistaken, they walked away with 3 points as well.
Yes, 2-1 win against Xolos Femenil.
Interesting enough, and this is completely hilarious. When the Xolos manager was asked about the game. She said that she was content with the draw. And the reporter had to clarify to her, like, no, your team lost.
Are you
So how?
serious?
Yes, I kid you not. She thought that the team had drew when she was giving the post press conference to the media, and someone said, "No, you lost."
Damn,
Can,
I
sucks.
didn't see that actually.
can you imagine how that is? You as the coach was like, "Yeah, I'm happy to walk away with the draw, blah blah blah," and everyone was like, "But you lost."
That's amazing.
That's just, I mean, I don't know. I don't know what's going on there, but the ladies come out with a very, very good result. I think it's at that point of the season too for them. It's they got to get every point possible, and this Cholos
Yeah.
team is actually a pretty decent one. So for them to walk away with a good result in what was looked like a pretty fought out match, I guess nothing more to say. But congratulations, ladies, for producing as always.
Yeah, they have 4 more games left, and the next game is against Pumas.
So that one's gonna be interesting. So it
Yeah.
looks like it's a classical week all around for the men and the ladies.
Yeah, shout out to Daniela Espinosa in that game. She got a brace, scoring both goals for the ladies after they were down a goal.
Look at that fighting spirit from even our hashtag Lady Aguilas.
There you go.
Yeah, and then we got some of the ladies too called up
Dude,
to the
I need to watch this. The thing you were saying about like you didn't know he won. I have to see that now. I've never seen that before in my life.
Yeah, she completely is just like, what? And then everyone's like, yeah. So
The chat.
yeah, I mean, that's embarrassing.
Yeah,
That's the last thing you want to see, especially in a game that's supposed to be growing. And there are a lot of people in Mexico that diminish the game as well because of situations like this. And you don't want any of this to come back and not even the Cholos team, but just the league as a whole for the ladies. It's something that should be taken very serious. And just moments like these, I'm afraid that will just tarnish the growth of it.
Right. And right now, more now than ever, we can't tarnish any growth considering what happened with the national team, and it just needs to go up from here. We just, like I said, we can't afford any step.
Any more setbacks?
Any
more setbacks? But I will say this: it was very hilarious. And if it was to happen to a men's thing, can you imagine the memes?
The memes. Imagine it happens like United or something.
Probably.
I'm just playing with you.
Oh man, but that was that. But congratulations to the ladies, and we'll keep you guys updated as much as possible. As always, ladies, we wish we could talk so much more about you, but we can only do so much with the YouTube highlights. But keep doing it, keep killing it, and
we might just have to hire someone to talk about Lady Aguilas. Wink, wink.
Nudge, nudge.
Wink, wink.
I mean, I don't know who you know down there that's covering the game.
Oh, I know people. Don't worry.
Okay, Christian with the connections. Okay, but then I don't feel right not like just having one person talk about it, and then we're just like, I want to be part of the conversation as well.
But what if I told you that this person follows both teams?
No, I mean, like, why we need to watch the games. That's what I'm saying. Like, we need to watch them.
I try to watch as much as I can. But it's very hard when there's no live broadcast.
We need to. Exactly. Now, who's ever done this? And I would say show of hands, but there's no way the group chat can say show of hands. But
just have them type I.
Yeah, just
who knows about illegally having Mexican cable here in the United States?
I think Sling doesn't.
No,
well, that's legal. But that's legal.
That's legal. No, what I mean illegal is okay. So, for example, here we have.
How are you going to say this and our FBI agent watching this? And like now we're going to
my FBI agent's like texting me right now, and he's like, "What is this Ivy kid saying?"
He's like, "Cut it off, cut it off." So, for example, we have DirecTV here, right, in the United States. Well, in Mexico, they have called Sky, right?
Yes.
Sky. So that you literally what you do is you get all the kind of gear, so the satellite, the everything that you would use to hook up in Mexico, you'd bring it here to the United States, and and that's how you get cable from Mexico. So you can get every single channel from Mexico here in the United States.
Don't be surprised if the FBI is knocking on your door in about an hour, right?
And it's funny though, because it's so easy to obtain, especially for those people who live so close to the border like me. I'm just like 3 hours away from TJ. You just go, you buy what you need, and you come set it up at home, and presto, you're good to go.
Don't do it.
Actually, that's something I've been wanting to do for a while now, but that's just...
Oh, really?
We'll keep it there.
Yeah, we can't. Yeah, you know what, dude? Tomorrow we're gonna get like a notice. Oh, your show has been canceled.
You just got more PR damage. Things happen.
It's whatever. Okay. Lady Aguilas. Hopefully next season will be better in terms of broadcasting for you guys.
Yeah, definitely. And we'll keep a close eye on it. But keep going and keep using that hashtag Lady Aguilas, people. Eventually it will come to one of them, and they will be more than happy to know that they have a very, very good audience here in the United States.
Exactly.
And across the world as well. If I'm not mistaken, a good friend from Ireland also does the hashtag Lady Aguilas.
Yeah, I think so.
Just spreading the love.
Nice. Well, gentlemen, we come to the last end of the business. America versus Cruz Azul, the Clásico Joven, will take part this Saturday. I believe it's a late night edition of this game. 7 p.m. for me, 10 Eastern for you, 9 p.m. Central for you, Dylan. And then, of course, our good friends at Mountain Time, that is 8 p.m. Excited for this one, right? I think we've been anticipating this matchup for quite some time now, especially since the league started and Cruz Azul was running away with it. A lot of people were just contemplating America versus Cruz Azul. What is that game going to look like with everything going on in regards to the team? Because, both are now sharing stadiums. Both recently have had games that have been an absolutely amazing spectacle in regards to goals and actions. So a lot is going to be played and a lot of anticipation, a lot of hype is going into this game, as much as hype as a Clásico Nacional would.
Listen, from the moment I saw Cruz Azul being in form and kind of like this powerhouse message they sent out throughout the league, I knew that this game Saturday night, 10 o'clock Eastern time, this match will be better than our match against Chivas. And I've said it since probably week 4 or 5 of the season. And everyone just looked at me like, yo, listen, you're like, chill. Like, Russell's going to fall off any minute now. And they haven't. They've stayed 1, 2, 3 throughout the whole season. They haven't dropped. This is going to be a very interesting match. I cannot wait for this game.
And we'll talk about the logistic sides of things, what the numbers would look like with a win, with a draw, with a loss, and what it does for the teams in regards to, spirit and the way that they look at the rest of the season in regards to said results. But let's talk a little bit about the history that these two teams kind of share, because before it was this America Cruz Azul, and then the America Cruz Azul was actually cemented that final in 2013. That was when an America Cruz Azul became the thing. Before that, it was just a Clásico Joven. And the reason why it's called the Clásico Joven, because it's two very good teams that are rivals that just happen to be neighbors in the city, which is why they called it a Clásico Joven. It was basically a derby. Mm-hmm. In recent times, it's become this actual Clásico, but beforehand, it was just kind of this Clásico Joven kind of thing. Now it's become the kind of pivotal game for Cruz Azul and a very important game for America, because after you win a final against Cruz Azul in the manner that you did, everything else after that is Cruz Azul going to finally get their revenge? Is Cruz Azul finally going to get one back for the title they lost against America? So there was just all kind of things stacking up on top of this game that now you've got itself just completely a very, very good, attractive game. We've seen games where America has had to come back. We've seen games where Cruz Azul has put in such a good fight. We've seen games where both teams go back and forth. We've seen one game where America dominates. We've seen one game where Cruz Azul dominates and this and that. And the results, they're all over the place sometimes, but ultimately they're very, very good.
Yes. Definitely.
So now, gentlemen, I speak to you and ask you, how are you guys feeling before kickoff, just a couple days before Saturday's matchup? And also, shout out to Mr. Jason Marquez, who is hopefully listening to this podcast and who was on last season's podcast talking about this game, and someone who follows Cruz Azul, who was a very passionate fan and who was a good friend of the Liga MX community.
Shout out to him.
But gentlemen, tell me, how are you guys coming into this game?
Confident.
Okay, confident. Dylan.
Yeah, I guess I could say I'm pretty confident. You know, I do got some butterflies in my stomach because of where these two teams are and the way these two teams can play in terms of their players and some bench options for both teams. But overall, I feel like I'm pretty confident about this game.
Okay, so I'm the only one that's maybe a little bit hesitant when it comes to this game.
Okay, that's understandable though.
Yeah, that is. I do have those butterflies, like I said, in my stomach about it.
But I'm not hesitant because I think that this game is not going to go according to plan. I'm just hesitant because I'm afraid of what America is going to put out there on the pitch.
No, you're right.
Yeah.
But still, without a doubt, it's going to be a very exciting game.
Oh, for sure, 100%. Two very, very good teams in terms of position for position. A Cruz Azul that feels like, they like you said, they have something to prove against us in a way. They're still looking for like that revenge, and maybe this match will be kind of like that for them. They're gonna want out here and to beat us at the Estadio Azteca too, considering that now they want to call it their home. There's a lot riding on this, in my opinion.
So let's talk a little bit about that. Let's talk about this kind of home field advantage, which dare I may say maybe even go to Cruz Azul because the fans seem to be showing more than us. Now,
not recently though. Recently, it's been kind of even.
Yes, it has been quite even recently. But now my question is here: how is it that the teams, in regards to fans, are they going to respond? And a lot of fans are looking forward to this for both sets. Question is, who is going to be home, America or Cruz Azul, in regards to the amount of tickets that are sold and the amount of fans that go and see?
That's a tough one because
I'm willing to say it's split down the middle.
I would say split down the middle as well, but I don't know the behind the scene ticket sales supposedly, because there's been some reports where apparently Cruz Azul gets like first day bids and then America fans get to buy their tickets as well. I've also seen reports where no, you guys will all get to buy your tickets like on this date and that's it only. I've also seen something where America will have 2 or 3 sections and the rest will only be available for Cruz Azul fans. See, I really don't believe most of them, but like I think like you guys said though, I think it'll be 50-50.
Yeah.
Which is the reason why I asked that is because I feel like a big part of this game is going to be tied down to what the fans bring to the atmosphere.
Definitely.
What is it going to be like? And we'll have to wait and find out Saturday. But I have a good feeling that it's going to be 50-50.
Same.
Dylan?
Yeah. You would think though that you would have more America fans, obviously, because you're having this sense that, like you said, like Cruz Azul are now claiming Azteca as the home when it's never has been, just right now. And so you would think this would upset the America fans to come out and do their best to pack it more than Cruz Azul fans. But at this point in the stage when we're looking at it, I just have to agree 50-50.
Interesting. But now, before we stray away from the Azteca, let's talk a little bit about the pitch. How well do you think the pitch is going to be looking like on Saturday?
Who knows, because Cruz Azul has a match tomorrow.
So we'll get a bit of a taste of what the Azteca's looking like, and then whether or not they destroy the pitch or not, we'll have to wait and see. That pitch, as bad as it was, it could have been worse against Cholos. But I mean, you never know what's going to happen.
But listen, these teams have been playing on the same pitch for the whole season. Pitch should not be a factor in this game.
Yeah, no, but it really shouldn't.
And I'm not even talking about factor here. I'm just talking about visual, because if this is one of the games, because look, if you're marketing, if you're Liga MX at this point, you want to market the best game possible. What better way than to pit first place against second place and have this kind of be your showcase show all? And then they tune in and they see this crappy ass field on this humongous stadium. That doesn't give a good look. And that's my only reason why I bring that up.
No, yeah, I understand why you bring it up, but in terms of gameplay,
I don't think it. Yeah, in regards to gameplay, I don't think that should be too much of a factor.
Yeah, definitely.
Then again, if we start seeing long ball united in regards to that, then maybe we can throw a little bit to the pitch. But we'll discuss about that next week, whether or not we see that. But now let's get into the swing of things. America's coming in hot, first place. Looks like we're steamrolling. Cruz Azul finding themselves in a bit of a rut.
A little bit, yes.
Just a little bit, because they say they lost this game.
Yeah, just a little bit, though. Yeah, we can't over-exaggerate.
They were winning. We'll see what the spirit is like after their Copa MX game, but both teams coming in hot. Both teams looking good. Both teams with very good players.
Very good
players. It's going to come down, and I promise you it's going to come down to three things. One, the most important part, your tactics. Which manager has the better tactics? Because on paper, both teams play roughly the same lineup, a 4-4-2.
I have to disagree with you there.
Why? Because we don't play a 4-4-2?
No, Cruz Azul doesn't play a 4-4-2. Cruz Azul plays a 4-3-3.
But it could be argued that sometimes we play in that sense like that. But I get what you're saying in regards to that.
Yeah, but still similar though, And is there a ghost in there?
No, it's just one of the lights turned off.
Oh, okay. I saw you looking. I was like, oh my god, there's a ghost. Let me check. There's a
ghost. No, we're good.
Okay, but yeah, but I see what you're saying though. Roughly kind of same play styles in a sense.
So tactic wise, it's gonna be so important, right? Then the most second important part of that is your midfield battle. Okay. Who's going to win it? What player is going to be up for it? And last, the most important battle that you're going to be wanting to win is the goalkeeper battle. Between Marche and Corona, it's going to come down to which goalkeeper is having a better night.
Corona's our son.
Which defense is having a better night too. But most importantly, which goalkeeper at that sense. Both the goalkeepers coming in good forms. I don't know if you guys saw the game against Querétaro and Cruz Azul. Chuy was making some very good saves. So it looks like he's found himself a bit of a springboard as well. Marche, of course, we know what he's done and what he's capable of. So three very important battles. The most important one, of course, the tactics. Second most important, the midfield battle. And then third, I think it's going to be that goalkeeper battle.
Right. Can I add the defense into this too?
A little bit. And I only say a little bit because I think their defense is a little bit more solid than ours.
Yes, I was going to say that. Yes, their defense is definitely more solid than ours. Even though they conceded 2 goals in a minute in their last game, but we shouldn't look past that though.
Yeah, but then a lot could be said about our defense too.
No, yeah, that's why I agree with you that Cruz Azul's defense is better than ours. In terms of defending and goal scoring, I don't know, because we kind of have a little edge over there,
We do. We actually really do. Even though they have Pablo Aguilar, you would imagine that would have been a little bit more goals. But let's talk primarily about the tactics here. And before we do that, let's talk about the formation that we most likely will see coming off the bat for Aguilas. So, Dylan, I throw it to you. Give me your predicted lineup for Cruz Azul.
I think you just take out Linus and you start Uribe. I think we're going the same lineup.
Interesting, because this is what we were going to talk about. We were going to talk about the lineup and how controversial it's going to be, because I promise you, as soon as the confirmed lineup is out, we're gonna have a lot of controversy on Twitter, on Facebook, anywhere you go. It's gonna be controversial everywhere.
Do
Okay,
you
so
have inside scoop or something?
no, but my gut is telling me,
Okay, let me
and we'll
see.
discuss this right now. So Christian, tell me your predicted lineup.
It's basically Dylan's, Marchesín, Jorge Sánchez, Aguilera, Valdez, Paul Aguilar, Andres Ibargüen, Guido Rodriguez, Mateo Cero, Renato Ibarra, and Roger Martinez, Oribe Peralta.
So we all agree, because that's my same lineup too. We all agree Diego Lainez hits the bench.
Yes. Why? Piojo, but yes, he will.
Yeah, Piojo. I mean,
how crazy is that we've all just normalized Lainez after the tremendous. I mean, have you seen a game like that from Diego Lainez? No. And yet we're ready to put him on the bench. And I'm ready to put him on the bench, not because Piojo, because I think I would have done the same thing.
See, I wouldn't have. I would have kept this exact same lineup that you put against Tijuana. I would have put it out against Cruz Azul. But that's just me, though.
And it's interesting that a lot of people will say how crazy it is that we're normalizing this, that Diego Lainez can just go back to the bench after the tremendous game he had. But it's true. It's what we're going to see. And as much as we think that Lainez deserves his startup, I don't know if he really is going to get it. I think at the end of the day, all three of us want to be wrong and want to have Lainez start, correct?
Yeah,
correct.
Yeah, no doubt. It's just, like we said, I think it's obviously just looking from Piojo's perspective, and Piojo just all like, he's gonna put Oribe out there.
Now, a lot of people would say, forget that, take Roger out, put in Oribe, problem solved, right?
Yes.
But can you guys tell me why that maybe causes an even bigger problem?
Oribe for Roger, and because Oribe drops back. Yeah, Lainez is in that position. Yeah, Lainez can't possibly play a striker position.
That's right.
So exactly.
So as soon as you put Oribe Peralta in Roger's spot, you completely lose that striker position. Mm-hmm. You are literally playing with a midfield and a defense and no forward whatsoever.
I think that's where people are missing the point, that's Oribe's thing. He doesn't want to stay in the box, and get fed balls. He wants to go for the ball and then, make a play out of that. I think people don't realize that.
We've talked about this on this podcast, that he is changing his game. He's transitioned into a different Oribe. He is no longer the Oribe that is in the box, this fox in the box. He is just this Oribe Peralta that floats between that cam and center forward position and just finds himself in great pockets of spaces and in great positions because he has that striker instinct in him. But he also isn't that striker. He does great at being the second striker. When it's a 4-4-2 and he plays as that second striker, he does it well because he has that liberty to go back and receive the ball. Like we said, he's worked on his game. Now he's more of a pass me the ball, I will shield it, you can play off me, and we can get plays going off like that. And then that's how he can find himself in these great pockets of spaces for him to finish. In regards to him being the lone striker, not a good idea. Mm-hmm. Not a good idea, because Oribe Peralta, he has such tenacity to press and drop back to receive a ball. Like we said, he's going to receive it, and guess what? We have nobody to pass it to up forward. And against Cruz Azul, I promise you that our most important and our most effective way of making them kind of feel the pressure is going down the middle. Mm-hmm. A lot of people will say, why though? Because I feel like our triangulations between our midfield are going to be more strong against Cruz Azules, and we'll discuss that in just a little bit. But our wide game is going to be important. But I think what we produce down the middle is going to be even more vital. Because let's face it, if we're going down the wings, we're setting up cross after cross after cross, and there are two very good center backs. One of them by the name of Pablo Aguilar that will eat crosses every single day. So there's no reason why to play to their to their strengths. Force them, and we should know how Pablo Aguilar sometimes looks a bit weak in that one-on-one situation when it comes to fast, pacey, strong striker, which is something that Roger might have on him if Roger decides that he wants to show up.
But what way to show up in this game?
What a way it would be indeed. But I think that this is why I say no. You just can't switch Oribe Peralta in for Roger and think boom, settled. We
Yeah.
can keep Linus as starting position. Look, I love Linus. I love me some Linus. But the way we play against Cruz Azul, the tactics just call for Linus on the bench.
Yeah. Definitely.
But that's not to say he can't come in and change the game, because I think he could be the absolute game changer as a super sub in this matchup.
Yeah.
And I think that's what we want.
I don't really see it happening, but just if we're talking hypothetical potentially, would it be a surprise if we see a repeated lineup for y'all?
Very surprising. Only because that means Oribe Peralta rides the bench.
Well, I mean, I'm okay. Like I said, I'm not saying like that it will. I don't really see it happening because we know Piojo, and just kind of something to think about too. Because I mean, if you really look at it, you're just taking out one player, putting in another player.
And that's the thing. No, you worded it perfectly. That's what a lot of people think. Is you're just taking one player, putting another one, when really you're just, by doing so, you completely change all your tactics and throw them completely against. You flip on their head in just throwing Roger out and putting Oribe Peralta in. That's two different players. Two different players are going to do you two different functions in the game. So that's why you can't really do that.
Yeah, no, just trying to put it out there too. I'm just wondering about that.
And I think with you saying it like that, I think it brings the perfect perspective of how these two players completely change the face of the America attack. Because with Roger, you have a sense of a target man. In Oribe Peralta, you have sense of more of a player you can play off of.
Yeah.
One is more of an outlet. One is more of a target. So in that sense, that's really why you just can't switch out these two. But I think we all agree it's going to be Roger and it's going to be Oribe, and then everything else is going to be the same following that.
Mm-hmm. It's interesting how we didn't mention Edson Alvarez.
I think at this point, Edson Alvarez just is going to ride the bench.
Yeah, until one of them messes up.
And you don't want to at this point.
No, exactly. You don't want to. Especially not this game.
Especially at this part of the season.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah, exactly.
So, it sucks because it's a cruel way to punish him for someone who's had a great season.
Exactly. Mm-hmm.
But I don't see Edson starting anytime soon.
I don't either. No.
I don't either.
Unless some freak thing. And
coming off the bench, I see him 100% of the time. He can come in.
Yeah.
But starting, and I hate it, kills me because Edson is probably the best center back that we have. But in regards to form, right now, you don't really want to touch what's working.
Exactly.
Why fix it if it's not broken?
Okay, there you go.
And a lot of people will be like, well, then why would we just not repeat the lineup? And we go back to it because we all know Oribe was going to start. He has to start.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
As someone mentioned in the chat, there's no way that Oribe does not start this Saturday. And it's true. There's no way.
Exactly. Mr. Chris 45 says, or what about Piojo switching to a line of 5? I think we will all disagree to that. I think if you saw a line of 5, you would completely lose your heads and think, why?
Cruz Azul is dangerous up top. Their players up top, they're very dangerous. You do not want to give them the ball. You do not want them to keep attacking you. That's something you don't want.
I don't want a repeat of Pumas.
Exactly.
Basically.
And that's what we came out with, right?
And this is a better...
that's what we came out with, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So, work with what's working. And that line, that back 5 worked for us wonders in 2013. The game's changed dramatically ever since. Mm-hmm. And now this back 4 with 4 midfielders, occasionally a center forward or 2 strikers, has been completely magic for us at this point. And you continue your good run of form. You can only wonder what this America side is capable of. Now, we got the lineup out of the way. Let's talk in regards to tactics. And by tactics, I mean, let's talk about that midfield battle, because it's something that I wanted to bring up. You have the likes of Guido Rodriguez going up against the likes of Ivan Marcone. Is that how you say his name?
Marcone. That's how I say it, yeah.
So, literally, midfielder against midfielder. Probably the 2 best midfielders right now in Mexico.
Top 3. I put Guido Pizarro over Marconi, but that's just me.
Okay. Two of the best midfielders in Mexico City right now.
Okay, yes.
Going head to head. In a battle of who controls what. And I think it's so important that Guido walks out of this as the victory, as the guy who kind of, takes it. Now, it's funny enough because, Guido Rodriguez is kind of like the man who kind of holds the midfield, can support in the attack, but you know him for how much space he covers. Ivan Marcone does a little bit of both. He holds the midfield, but he also goes and attacks.
Mm-hmm.
I think that gives Guido a bit of the edge.
It does, yes.
Because Guido will not commit too much to the attack the way Marcona will. Now, with that said, does that mean that we will see them collide more often than not on the pitch?
It could be.
Yeah, it could be.
But that's when you have to shine.
Yeah, that's because you look back at this past game against Cholos, and Guido has a decent game, but he can be better.
Mm-hmm. Completely. And I think this is the end all game that he needs to shine because he's literally going up against his counterpart.
Yeah, definitely. Mm-hmm.
Literally. And you want him to come out on top on this one. So it's important that these two players have a supporting cast. What does that mean? That means that Mateus Uribe comes to the rescue.
This is the game he needs to show up.
Yeah, he really needs
to show up this game.
And for Marcona, Baca will be important for him. So as much as we say Guido and Marcone are important, it's the supporting cast alongside him that will determine which midfielder wins that battle. Mm-hmm. So Mateus Uribe, even though we haven't really mentioned him, has probably just as much of an important role as Guido at this point. And I will say this, though. Uribe is going to be very important for us going forward. What he can produce and what passes he can make and what triangulations he can do with whom is going to be important as to whether or not we can break that Cruz Azul defense in an instant or whether or not they're going to read us right away.
Right. Mm-hmm.
That partnership he's been making with Oribe Peralta, I think, is going to have to flourish this game more than ever.
Of course. You're hitting all the right points right now.
Yeah, definitely. Like you just gotta be right that like that too, and he's gotta realize and step up too as well. Because obviously we look back at Cholo's game, not his best game. We know the Mateus Uribe can be.
Yeah, we know he can influence more. We know he can be more of an influence. He needs to be key, and I just haven't seen enough, and hopefully in this game we do. So we talked a little bit about the midfield. Now let's talk about the team as a whole, what we need to see them do in regards to winning this game. I think one thing we've said time and time again, and I think we'll continue to say this until this actually comes true, is you got to take the game to them from the get-go.
Mm-hmm.
From kickoff, do what you've been doing in the second half and just go at them. Don't let them get a feel of the ball. Don't let them get comfortable, and don't let them get creative and, actually execute their tactics. Keep them on the defense, keep them on their toes, keep them off balance, and trust me, we will get an early goal. And if we do, that means that we then control the match after that.
Mm-hmm. And do not step back after we get that lead. If we get that lead, do not step back.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, do you kind of expect it, or does the team not at this point? I mean, you would think not because it's a Clásico, but at the same time, it's in the back of your mind that it's possible still.
Mm-hmm.
It's completely true. So, okay, so we have that. Now, I think it's just simple. From there on, you just want them to play the easy ball. Play simple. Don't force a pass. Don't risk anything. And if you need to, play it back.
Reset.
Reset. Don't force yourself. And don't put yourself in a situation in which the ball is not 100% secure.
Mm-hmm.
And with that said, finish the damn chances that get in front of you. It's just as simple as that.
Especially against the best defensive team in the league, you're going to want to have to finish your chances when you get them.
Because you feel like you're not going to get as many.
Exactly. Mm-hmm.
So, I mean, anything else you guys want to add on in regards to tactics?
Listen, I don't want to seem like I'm praising Cruz Azul so much, but I hope Miguel Herrera stresses to them that this team, they're dangerous. If you look at their players, they're dangerous, and they're going to be dangerous in this game, especially against America. listen, guys, do not like you're hitting all the points perfectly. Do not give away an easy ball. Do not let them potentially on the counter attack because they will punish you. And they might not be scoring as many goals as we are since we are the best offensively. But they are top three. Top three offensive teams in the league. So a counter attack that they have, it's a goal for them in any moment of the game, and we cannot let that happen.
Dylan?
You stress tactics a lot, Ivan, but to me, these players got to show up and still be consistent throughout the game and take the momentum they've built for themselves these past two games against Tigres, against Cholos, and come out and still play with that too as well. And I do agree. We talked about these tactics, and these are some things that they got to do. But these players got to go and execute that plan too as well. You can't just say that, just can't half-ass it. I'm sorry, I've cussed. I'm really sorry. Y'all don't hear me do that as much. I'm really sorry, but they just can't go out there and be lazy about it. Like, these players really got to come out and perform, and they know they got to do that. And like Christian said, Piojo got to come to them and realize, this is a top three team. These guys are second behind you. So obviously this is a big game, and I really hope they have that mindset because this is a Clásico too as well. And so just going out, playing their game, finding their identity early, scoring the early goal, and then just take it from there and be consistent throughout the game.
It's been a while since Cruz Azul has been in a top level, and I don't know. I feel this game's gonna have a whole different vibe to it, whole different intensity.
Mm-hmm.
So strong words from Christian and Cowboy Dan in regards to what the team needs to do, and you two gentlemen bring up very good points in regards to one aspect, the tactic parts of don't let yourself get lost in transition and get broken with a counterattack, and also going out there and executing and kind of running off on the good form that you have. Playing as a team is the most important thing, and knowing where you stand with your good run of form and using that, catapulting yourself and placing you into that next spot, into that next level is important, like Dylan was saying. So it's all going to come down to whether or not all these things gel perfectly in the players' heads and whether or not Bielko has them in that right mindset. You guys mentioned this. It's a Clásico. It's a derby. It's a game in which you have to put everything on the line. And yes, it's not a super Clásico, but guess what? In most recent years, this game's probably had a little bit more flair than some of the, super Clásicos at times. So, this game's going to mean a lot to some of these players, And it's just about showing passion, showing pride. Trust me, Cruz Azul is going to want it just as much as America wants it. So it's who's going to want it more, which team's going to put in the more effort, which one's going to have a little bit more heart. Most importantly, who's going to be able to cancel out who. I think you mentioned it perfectly, Christian. Cruz Azul on the counterattack is 100% lethal. Now, how do you stop a team that has a very good breakaway? And I think it's as simple as shutting down their wingers.
Yeah, Rafa Vaca and Roberto Alvarado.
Yeah.
Now, how do you do that?
Break their legs.
Okay, without going too to the extreme, how do you break down wing play?
I'm sorry.
How do you break down wing play? It's simple tactics 101.
Oh, shoot. I didn't take this class.
You cancel them out by forcing the team to play down the middle. You force Cruz Azul to utilize their midfield more than they do their wings. Now, what does that mean?
What does
that mean? That means that Paul Aguilar and George Sanchez are going to have a very, very tough game in regards to controlling their midfielders. And dare I say, Renato Ibarra and Ibargüen are going to have to drop a little bit more than they're used to if you want to cancel out their wingers.
I don't think Ibarra has a problem with that. It's Ibargüen that.
Yeah, he's the only one that would have to.
That really has to
Ibarra will hustle all game long, and Ibargüen sometimes like, where are you, man?
Yeah, exactly.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
But it's important because it's not even Alvarado or whoever there or Elias Hernandez. It's not them two. It's also your fullbacks that they have to worry about. Which is why I said you need Ibarra and Ibargüen to drop back, and at times even man mark. Close down. Make sure the most important thing about this is don't let them win. Que no te ganen la espalda. I don't know why it came on in Spanish, but don't let them win you your back. Because at the moment you let them pass you like that is when all they need is a good over the ball pass and they've beaten you. So man mark him. Always stay behind your player. Always stay behind your player unless you can get them on account on an offside trap. But even then, that's a little bit that's a little bit hesitant. But man mark if you need to, but keep them pressed, keep them very, very zonal in regards to the way they play down the middle, and force the pass to go inwards, not outwards.
Right. Mm-hmm.
I hope Piojo's working on this during the week. I really do, because it's the one way to beat Cruz Azul at their own game is by forcing them to play down the middle, because there's a monster of a player in that middle waiting for that Cruz Azul midfield, and he goes by the name of Guido Rodriguez.
Mm-hmm. Definitely.
You know, we always joke around and like, Piojo, you know, you're listening to this. And what if he actually does? And you're like, all right, I'm just going to do the complete opposite of what they're saying.
He just, you know what? I even said this. We're going to go this complete opposite way.
We're going to let them have the wings and we'll just close off the middle.
Oh, man, that's not good, because as much as this is what I don't get about our defenders. They are amazing when we have to go and take a corner. They are winning headers. They are scoring goals. When it comes time to defend the cross, why can't they get their head to it? It's like they forget how to head the ball. It's just they find themselves in horrible positions, and it's just like, no, we cannot allow Cruz Azul to get us on that counterattack to their wingers, because I promise you, I'm not 100% with that ball coming in from across and trying Bruno or Aguilera to get it away.
I think Pablo Aguilar's gonna have the toughest night. In between Jorge
No,
and
Sanchez is gonna have the toughest night.
Sanchez is defending Edgar Mendez and Rafa Vaca. Pablo
No.
Aguilar is defending Elias Hernandez and Piojo Alvarado.
Piojo Alvarado is gonna go out through the right, isn't he?
No, Piojo is left with Elias.
Yeah, left.
And combined, they have 7 goals, and they're both top 4 in Cruz Azul goal scoring, or top 5. I meant.
Mm-hmm.
Interesting. Still,
that's why I'm saying Pablo
difficult night.
Toughest night.
Difficult night for whoever.
Difficult night overall.
Difficult night overall. Yes. Mm-hmm. But I have confidence that we will prevail from this.
Yeah.
Definitely. And maybe this is why too you don't want to see Linus start this game. And I'm glad we brought it up, because it's, as much as we praise Linus, how well is his defense?
Not even that. It's just we know he makes errors, and this is a game where you need to have minimal errors in order to win.
Yeah,
you know?
Exactly.
As great as he is at getting us going on a counterattack and taking on players, at this point it's a bit too risky to have someone to come in and try it. Let's say you take out Ibarwen and put in Linus there. How well are you confident in Linus dropping back and actually playing that role? I can see him dropping back, but I can also see him kind of giving up, things here and there. I'm just saying.
Yeah. No, I see what you mean.
But he can be a great 60th minute change and completely flip Cruz Azul on their heads. Because like we said, the most important way to hurt Cruz Azul is also playing down the middle for us. And Linus loves being in that midfield spot.
Exactly.
To wait and see. Have to wait and see. So
America
America's going to go out with a traditional 4-4-2, but not really. It's going to be a 4-4-1-1. But
it could be.
It could be a 4-2-3-2. It's going to vary. But you can bet a good decent amount of money that Oriol Peralta is going to be playing a little bit deeper in the midfield more than he is as a striker.
Mm-hmm.
So I think it was a good. I think this is a good way of letting people know what they can expect from America, what they can expect from Cruz Azul. How's the best way to combat them?
I think we hyped this game up a lot.
Now all that's left is predictions. Predicting. Not just the scoreline, but give me one player who is going to have a standout game for America and give me your prediction. So I throw it to you first, Christian.
I think Mateus Uribe is going to have his game this Saturday. I think Mateus Uribe will be all over that midfield and creating chances. I think I'm going 2-1 America.
Okay, Dylan?
I have to give it to Bruno Valdez.
Okay.
I think I think he's gonna be pretty key in the defense. Despite him, losing his spot to Edson whenever he had that red card, and then obviously I think he gained it pretty back too pretty fast whenever Edson went down with the red card, and he stepped up and still showed that he can obviously play, and he still has his stuff. And I think I'm agree with Christians could be 2-1.
Okay. I'm going with Roger Martinez.
Roger Martinez. Okay.
I think he has a very important game. He has 2 very strong center backs that he has to muscle out, but can definitely do it. Mm-hmm. And I'm going with our good friend, Mr. Chris 45. I'm going to America 2-0, and Roger scores both goals.
Listen, knowing the Cruz Azul team,
I
don't think, as much as I love America, as much as I love Martin, as much as I love this team, I just don't think we can shut out Cruz Azul, to be honest.
We shut them out. And I tell you why, because we shut down their wing play, and in the midfield, Guido wins it.
Right. Mm-hmm. But
Guido wins it, and Roger outmuscles the defense.
But can it be consistent the whole 90 minutes?
Exactly.
No.
But listen,
any chances? No. We are going to see spells in which Cruz Azul are the much better side. They're going to score. They're going to get so close to scoring. They're going to hit the post probably 2-3 times, but we're still going to walk away with a shutout, miraculously as well. But we're not going to see a very consistent America. But we do see enough. We do see glimpses here and there that you say, okay, this can be done. Let's keep it going. Let's keep progressing. Maybe by La Liguilla we can see a consistent America. Maybe. But
that's maybe.
Yeah, that's that. But I do think there's going to be times in which Cruz Azul will be the superior team. It's just how can America cope with that, and how can they get themselves from that bit of a rut, and then, transitioning that game to be, handled on their end instead of Cruz Azul doing it.
Mm-hmm. I think that's much of Querétaro's gameplay against Cruz Azul was last game. They even though Cruz Azul for most parts of the game looked like in control, like you kind of saw Querétaro. Okay,
there was glimpses where Querétaro actually.
Yeah, like you come to me, but like watch out, because like I'm about to just go after you right now. So maybe America takes a page out of Querétaro's game plan there.
I hope not, because that means
exactly. But like I was saying though, we shouldn't really use that as our whole game plan. We just still go out and press. We should be the team that takes control of the match in our stadium, and we need to be in control of this match in order to win.
No, I'm not just saying and try to like hype us up in the sense that we know everything. It's just, I think if Piojo was to use our tactics, we walk away with a very good result.
Mm-hmm.
But then again, we'll see what happens. But should be an interesting game up. Should be an interesting matchup. We're predicting it that America will get not only 3 points, but a very good win against a very good side. And what does that mean in regards to the table? Well, that means America cements themselves even further into first place, dropping Cruz Azul down, and would be ahead of them by.
If we win, we're in Liguilla.
Yeah, we hit 30
points. That magic number.
If we win, we're in Liguilla. Yes.
That magic number.
Mm-hmm.
And I think it's just important that, we walk away with the best possible scenario here, which is a win. Even if America plays horrible, ugly, and we walk away with a 1-0 win, I'm still content.
Yeah, I agree.
We'll have to see. We'll have to wait and see. But with that said, anything else you gentlemen want to add on before we close out the show?
No, I think we did a great job of covering this game, and I don't know, man, I'm hyped already. I don't know about the rest of you guys or the rest of the chat. I'm hyped for this game already.
I am. And just as a reminder, it's gonna be live via Univision. That is, well, I don't know what channel that is for everyone, but that's gonna be live through Univision. It's gonna be at 7 p.m. Eastern, 9 p.m. Central, 10 p.m. Eastern time, 8 p.m. Mountain time. Get yourselves ready. Literally have yourself a taco or two before the game. You don't want to be eating because your stomach's going to be turning because how nervous and how nerve-wrenching this game is going to be. We're hyping this up like if it's a final, but it should be played like that because these two teams have a long line of history here. And with that said, the first place position is on the line here.
Yeah.
So interesting enough. We'll have to wait and see what happens, but two very, very good sides here. And hopefully, at the end of the day, we get to see our Aguilas walk away with 3 points. And like you mentioned, Christian, our home stadium, whether they want to deem us away or home, we're definitely always in the Estadio Azteca. Gotta be home. So make sure you guys do follow us on Twitter at Eagle Eye Pod. Your Eagle Eye boys will have you covered for everything in regards to first half, second half, post match, pre match, everything you need to know, lineups before they come out.
Everything match.
Everything. Every day. Every single day. Copa America 24/7. Make sure you turn on that bell notification and Twitter so you guys can always hear us tweet about the most random of stuffs. Sometimes they're actually important to the game. But in regards to that, gentlemen, I think that's it.
That's it.
Alrighty. Well, we want to wish also the Lady Aguilas a very, very good weekend. Hopefully, you guys walk away with a victory against Pumas under the Clásico there. And with that said, gentlemen, we've come to the end of the show. As always, follow us on SoundCloud and iTunes at Eagle Eye Pod. And with that said, thank you for joining us. As always, gentlemen, thank you for coming along and previewing another great matchup for America. Like I said, Cowboy Dan, thank you. Christian, thank you. Anything else you guys want to say before we sign off?
This is our home. All right, don't let anybody fool you guys. Estadio Azteca is our home, and we will go there Saturday and defend it.
Nice.
Also, tell your friends about the podcast. We love the support.
Yes, please do. Spread the word. Dylan.
Yeehaw.
Nothing said more than the perfect way to end the podcast. Wraps it all up in just one yeehaw. Alrighty. Well, from Cowboy Dan and Christian and myself, thank you so much for coming out and joining us. Have yourself a wonderful, wonderful night. Make sure you guys do tune in to our Twitter, and we'll catch you guys on the next time. Thank you again. It's been episode 44 of the Eagle Eye Podcast, and we'll see you guys very, very soon. Until next time, take care. And as always, Arriba America. Let's go for the win, boys, this Saturday.
Ram 'em.
Yeehaw.